Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. In today's Foundation Friday for over 50s, we are going to be taking a look at a foundation that was a viral sensation on TikTok. I wasn't able to get my hands on any for the first month, which is why my review is so delayed, but I was able to finally pick up a few different shades in it. It's the KVD Beauty Good Apple Skin Perfecting Hydrating Foundation Balm. This retails for $38 for 0.35 ounces. And it comes in 40 shades. It's pretty expensive, $38 for only just over a third of an ounce. Usually with foundation you get a full ounce, so that ends up over $100 an ounce for this foundation, just so you know. But this is supposed to be a buildable, full coverage, hydrating foundation balm with a lightweight, long wear formula and a fresh matte finish. It is supposed to be for all skin types and it's vegan. This brand is no longer associated with the person KVD. It was spun off and bought by a separate company. So since it had gone viral on TikTok and it was so impossible to get shades, I bought 3 different shades at 3 different stores at 3 weeks apart. First I got shade 039, which is a little bit light for me. So then I went on another site and I saw that they had 1 shade available. It was 048, so I grabbed that to try. That one ended up being a little bit dark for me, but I did wear it for the first day of testing. And then I was on Ulta's website and I noticed that they had another shade, which was shade 042, so I grabbed that one too just to see if it would happen to be a good match for me. Unfortunately, of the 3 shades that I bought, none of them were a good match for me, but it's not like I could pick a shade that I thought was good. I had to just go with like the 1 shade that I could grab when something wasn't sold out. So that's my little shade selection saga, but we will make it work. I feel like it's working really well today. What I ended up doing was mashing these all 3 together to put them on, and I feel like I got a pretty good shade match today. So the formula on this one is unlike any other formula I've seen. I haven't really tested many balm foundations, so this one is interesting. This one is mainly fatty acids, fatty alcohols, silicones, and film formers. It does contain apple extract, which is where it gets its name from. It has hyaluronic acid, but it's not trying to be skincare. The fatty acids and the fatty alcohol and the silicones will be occlusive. They'll also be hydrating and emollient for the skin. I feel like it could be okay for all skin types, as it said. The only thing that could be a little bit drying is that there is some hectorite in here, which is clay, which is usually included in products for more oily skin people. But it's such an interesting formula. Who knows? The one thing that I noticed about this the first time I picked it up was the feel of this stuff. It feels light as air. Like you're expecting it to be creamy, and when you touch it in the compact, it does feel really nice and creamy. But once you put it on your skin, it feels so lightweight. Somehow it's like a magical combination of ingredients, and I love how it feels. As you guys know, my foundation tests usually cover multiple days so that I can try different things with them. I like to try them with different sunscreens, with and without a primer, with and without setting powder, so we can really see how the foundation performs on its own on more mature, less than perfect skin. I'm 58, I have combo skin, I'm mainly normal, a little bit oily through the T-zone, a little bit dry around my mouth sometimes. Actually, the first day that I wore this, I was super dry. Oh my gosh, I had had a skincare debacle. Self-inflicted though, no worries. And I had these 2 really dry patches down here. They were so dry and crusty. So you get to see what it looks like on super dry, crusty, flaky skin when we go back to day 1. And on that day I used shade 048, which is the one that's a little bit too dark for me. All right, so for day 1, you know, I don't like to use any primer. I like to test the foundation and see how it does on its own. But as you also know, I also do use sunscreen every day under every foundation. And as I say, if a foundation doesn't work with my sunscreen, it doesn't work for me. So the sunscreen that I put on that day was my new favorite. It was the winner in my sunscreen testing video just a week ago, which is the Michelle Tinted Sun Shield SPF 50. I applied the foundation on one side of my face with my BK Beauty 101 brush, and I gotta say, I did kind of have the same reaction as a lot of the TikTokers who, when you swipe your brush in the foundation and then swipe it on your face, the amount of coverage it gives is really kind of impressive, especially for how lightweight it feels. Like it really feels like nothing going on. It blended out easily and quickly. There were no real issues. It wasn't mottled. It didn't have brush strokes in it. So for the other side of my face, I used a slightly damp beauty blender. I just pounced it directly into the balm and then applied it directly to my face, and that worked out really well as well. It went on over this sunscreen really well. Again, not mottled, not streaky. All right, first impressions and from a distance with my oldish eyes, this looks amazing. I mean, yeah, was really super skeptical about it, but holy cow. And it feels like you put it on and it's instantly dry and set. It's not like a liquid where you have to like wait for it to set down. It just feels so amazing, like the consistency of it. I don't know, it's just like the softest. I mean, I hate to rave about things when I just put it on, but boy, talk about a nice looking foundation. It's beautiful for, you know, especially a heavier coverage thing, which I normally don't like. Now I did look at it in my 10x mirror and there are a couple of things that aren't quite perfect. It does look a little bit more like makeup. Here's that like dry, crusty spot, and you can see, hopefully if my camera will focus, that it does look kind of dry and extra crusty right there. And then like right through here, it's not the most natural looking thing I've ever seen, but otherwise, you know, I think it looks nice. And most people are looking at me from a distance. Here is where it skipped over a couple of pores there. Always a pretty face. But as far as the coverage being like smooth, even coverage, it sure is giving me that. Like it's not mottled. There's no blending issues. So I really like the finish on it. It doesn't look like a real flat matte. It does have a little bit of light reflectiveness to it that I really liked about it, but I didn't feel like it was accentuating pores or texture. So I went ahead and put on the rest of my makeup, and I thought it looked good with the rest of my makeup on. I didn't use setting powder that day on my T-zone just to see if I would have like oily breakthrough in the afternoon, and even without the setting powder, I thought it looked really, really good. So I went ahead and did the different lighting tests on that day. So I got my vlogging cam and went to the kitchen by a window for natural light and outside because it was beautiful bright sunlight that day. So let me bring those in for you now. We'll take a look at it in the 3 different lighting scenarios. All right, Good Apple foundation in the overhead kitchen lights. Let me put them on so that we can get that overhead kitchen light look. Okay, so this is like indirect daylight. All right, here is the Good Apple foundation in bright sunshine. That was last Saturday, and I ended up going out in the afternoon kind of for an early dinner, so it was too early to do the 5-hour check-in, so I was out for that. And when I came home, it was like I was about 8 hours in with the makeup, so I did an 8-hour check-in, but it was going to be like midnight by the time it was 10 hours, so I didn't stay up to do a 10-hour check-in. So anyway, here's the 8-hour check-in for you. Okay, sorry I didn't come back for the 5-hour check-in. I left when it was only on for like 3.5 hours. And I've been out for 5 hours, and I had a mask on probably for at least half of that, 2.5 hours. And look, it's still in place really well. So for staying power and for coverage, I'm going to give it, you know, like, yes, really, really good. Where it doesn't look so good is where I have these 2 dry, crusty spots, and then makeup just looks horrible right there. But it's kind of extenuating circumstances. If it wasn't for those 2 spots, I'd say that it looks pretty good, especially considering that I haven't put on any setting powder. I haven't touched it up at all. So while right here between my eyebrows is shinier than it was when I first put it on, it doesn't look greasy. Let me come in close. You can take a look here where it's all really super flaky, and here it just doesn't look good, but I feel like, you know, it looks really nice in here. It's not like sliding around anywhere. Did it settle in my wrinkles? It did settle in my wrinkles a bit, but it's not like crusted in there or cracking or anything like that. But it does look just a little bit dry and a little bit makeup-y on the surface, so not you know, the most natural looking stuff, but really amazingly good wear. I felt like it was a little bit drying on the first day. It could have been the combination of the sunscreen with it, but it was also so long wearing that I really love that about it. But I thought if you really want to wear this, if you have dry skin, that maybe you would want to put a more hydrating sunscreen on under it. So today I put on my Holy Grail sunscreen, which is the Elta MD UV Elements SPF 44. This one is very moisturizing. I combine it with a little bit of Paula's Choice Super Light SPF 30, and that makes a great sunscreen under makeup. Since I usually try to apply with my fingers, I'm gonna go ahead and just smush these three together and see how it goes on with the fingers just on this lower part of my face. Mushing those three together actually gives me a pretty good color match. It actually doesn't look bad applied with the fingers. It does look a little bit broken up and mottled on the surface. Fingers definitely gives you a little bit less full coverage and makes it look a little bit more lifelike and a little less like cakey makeup. On the other side, I did want to use a primer, so let me go ahead and put the primer on there first. We'll give it a minute to set up. I tried this Flower Supernova Celestial Primer in a video a couple weeks ago, and I really liked it. It's a mousse, and it felt pretty hydrating. I thought this primer would be good because it does give a little bit of a glow to the skin, feels kind of hydrating. So I thought this one would be a nice one to use with it to maybe see if it could look a little, I don't know, maybe just a little more skin-like. So hopefully the two sides of my face aren't going to look too different, but I just like to try it with at least one primer to see how it goes. So let me just take a little bit more of the three shades. And we'll just mush them together here on the finger side of my face. I feel like a little of this goes a long way, so hopefully that won't be too much. Let me just take a look at this in my close-up mirror and see how that looks before we go ahead and do the other side. All right, I definitely like how it went on here with my fingers, way better than I like how it went on my nose or my forehead with the fingers. On the forehead, it's definitely really patchy and broken up here, kind of the same. You know, some spots didn't blend well around the nose, big exposed open pores here. But on this side, really nice, you know, smooth, even coverage with the fingers. So overall, don't love it applying it with the fingers over the whole face. So I think I'm just going to do the same type of thing that I did before, which was to do the three little swatches on here and try to blend them out with a damp beauty blender and kind of mix them together. I don't want to be striped, that's for sure. And I think I'm going to go for slightly lighter coverage today than I had on the other day. And I'm just going to try to fix up this patchy area up here. Okay, so it might not have been the fingers that was the culprit. It might be the sunscreen I have on under it today. It's just looking more patchy on this side. It definitely is looking a little bit more natural today, less like makeup sitting on the surface of the skin than it did the other day. I don't feel like the finish is fully matte. I feel like it does have some skin-like, lit from within, subtle glow going on with it. But I also feel like it's matte enough that it does minimize my pores and texture. So I really like it. So far so good. I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup, and then we'll go ahead and test it for the rest of the day. All right, you guys, I am back. Makeup is all done. I actually think this looks really, really nice. Every time that I've worn this foundation, I've been really happy with how it looks, especially when I first apply it. And I gotta say, it is long wearing based on my other 2 days. But just wanted to give mention to this Stone Cold Fox palette from ColourPop. Oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful palette, right up my alley. I bought this at Ulta. I think I was on there buying the last color of the KVD, and I was like, let me just poke around and see what's new. And this was new on the website, and I was like, whoa, look at those colors. A nice cool palette finally after all the warm palettes. My favorite color in it is this one over here called Baby Doll, which is what I have on my lids today. So I think this is just the prettiest eye look. I just love it. Oh my gosh, this is going to be like my go-to palette for a bit. So anyway, enough about that. Back to the foundation. Like I said, I think it looks really nice. I think it looks good up close. I think it looks good from a distance. I haven't powdered my T-zone. I only powdered my under eyes. When I wore it the other day, I didn't powder my T-zone either. And as I recall, it didn't get shiny in the afternoon. So I don't know, maybe I'll just powder it because I am feeling like a little bit textury right in here today. Let's take a look at it super up close. So this is where I'm thinking of doing the powdering. You know, I tend to be a little textury there, but you know, it's not accentuating the texture, it's just making it look normal. But you see it's giving like a little bit of light reflectiveness. It's not completely matte. I feel like I'm getting more settling in the wrinkles on the primer side. I'm so bummed. The other time I wore this primer, I wore it with a powder foundation. Maybe that's why I liked it. But anyway, I'm getting a little more settling in wrinkles on this side. Right there. On the primer side, then I'm not really getting any settling in wrinkles on the non-primer side. So that is good, and I feel like this side looks really nice. I kind of wish I had not used the primer, but I always like to try it with at least one primer. All right, so let me just go ahead and set my T-zone for today. I'm going to use the Honest Beauty Invisible Blurring Loose Powder. I like this guy a lot. And I'm really just going to do right between my eyebrows, and I'm just going to do the fronts of my cheeks to kind of disguise my pores a little bit more. Let me go ahead and do the flash photography test. All right, so here's the flash picture from a darkened room. I would say that to me it looks like it is giving me quite a bit of flashback. My face is pretty white and blown out. So if you are going to be wearing it somewhere, you know, where it's going to be a darkened room and there's going to be flash photography, it may not be the best choice for that. You can see the big color difference between my face and my neck, the difference between how pale it looks here and how skin-like it looks here in real life. Hello, I'm back. It's time for the 5-hour check-in. I recorded another video. What else did I do? I did a lot of running around and doing things. And again, this is really long-wearing foundation. I mean, it's 5 hours in and this looks perfect. It looks just like when I applied it. It definitely feels much less drying than it did the other day, and I don't have those crusty spots, so it's not looking bad on parts of my skin. This is the side with no primer, and I definitely feel like this side looks better. I feel like they're wearing the same. I don't feel like the primer is really making any difference as far as the wear. I think it's just long wearing on its own. I did powder the T-zone today, and I feel like that still looks really nice. Like I don't feel the need to touch up or repowder, and I feel like it creased more on the primer side than it did on the no primer side. So I'm going to say that it really doesn't crease that badly. I'm really happy with how it looks on this part of my face. I haven't been thrilled with how it looked on my forehead the entire day. I just feel like it went on really mottled and really patchy looking, and of course it still is. So it seems like it's kicking up a couple of little skin flakes over here, and it is slightly settled into my wrinkles. Don't know if you can see that, if my camera can pick up on that. I am still really happy with it. I think this is wearing really, really well. Let me go ahead and do my life for another 5 hours. I'll come back at 11 p.m. All right, hey you guys, I'm back for the 10-hour check-in. It's 11 p.m. Makeup has been on all day, and I just can't get over how good it looks after 10 hours of wear. There isn't any other makeup, I don't think, that I've come back to the camera after 10 hours and been like, it looks perfect. Like just about perfect. And you know, 2 days in a row with that is crazy. Yesterday I was wearing a mask for most of it. Today, no mask, but still, holy cow. I mean, when does makeup ever look this good after 10 hours? So amazing wear on this one. Even up close, I don't think it looks bad. It did, you know, settle in a couple of wrinkles here and there, but it doesn't look cracked and nasty on them. It doesn't feel drying. It feels lightweight. Today with a hydrating sunscreen, it doesn't look drying. It doesn't feel drying. I don't know. I am pretty impressed with this stuff. I was not expecting to like it at all, and I really, really like it a lot. Especially if you need long wear. I mean, like I said before, not 100% the most natural looking makeup, but it's not bad either. You know, it doesn't look like super cakey or, you know, super mask-like. And here it is up close at 10 hours. It's still so in place everywhere. It's barely worn off at all. I'm barely really seeing any settling in my lines or wrinkles. I mean, it is still modeled up here where it went on that way, but I think that, you know, unless you're my 10x mirror, you can't really see that. So all in all, yeah, I think this looks really good. So let's go ahead and go over the pros and cons. So on the pro side are definitely that long wear. If you need your foundation to be long wearing and bulletproof, then definitely give this one a try. It does have buildable medium to full coverage. It's very lightweight feeling. Doesn't really feel like anything on the skin, and that is awesome. And I really like the kind of satiny matte finish. It doesn't accentuate pores and texture, and it's not overly glowy and dewy, so I didn't feel like I needed to add powder. On the con side are that it does settle in wrinkles a little bit, but it doesn't look horrible the way it settles into wrinkles, so, you know, I think that that could be okay. It's not the most natural looking makeup. If you look at it super up close, it does look more like makeup sitting on the surface of the skin. If you have super dry skin, it will cling to the dry skin and make it not look so good. Overall, this was a pleasant surprise. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I definitely think it's worth a try for certain people. I think if you have super dry skin, I'm not sure if it would be for you, but if you do have super dry skin and you've tried it, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you thought of it. I think it's good on older, more mature, less than perfect skin. So all in all, I am kind of digging the KVD Good Apple foundation. I'm so surprised, but what can I say? I haven't worn anything that has looked this good so solidly for an entire day in a long time, and that is a good thing. So I guess that's it for today's video. We'll wrap this one up. So I hope you found it helpful and informative. If you did, go ahead and give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. As always, I thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.